Hey docs, welcome to another episode of the Chiro-Factor. By popular demand, we have chiropractors who love when we do the live audience. Now, James and I will be in Dallas, Texas in November for our best practices, joined by Del Bigtree. He's going to be a special guest in the USA. We are also going to be doing this in Sydney, Australia in December the 5th and 6th. We will be in Sydney, Australia in 2025. And then we're going to bounce in 2026 to the UK. And we're going to do this in London the first weekend in February, Super Bowl weekend. So listen, if you want to join us for the best practices seminar, that's where James and I will be for tour number 2. We're going back on the road. But in this particular episode, we're going to be joined by a live audience. The 250 people in the background are chiropractors that are doing the Level Up system. You see, I host 2 private client events each year, and everybody in the room is currently a client in Level Up. What's nice about this is we have 250 docs there. James is going to read the questions and casually just pull people to the mic that he likes, what they have to ask, and we're going to riff back and forth. Many of you know there's variables in healthcare, variables outside of chiropractic that are essential for healing. However, most people don't put into the mix the X factor that makes a huge difference. We call it the Chiro-Factor. It's why we started doing this podcast. And I would tell you, your sharing of the podcast, your reposting of the podcast, it is so appreciative. And if you could drop a comment down below here on YouTube or hit the like button on whatever platform you listen to, Spotify as well, we would really appreciate it. This is something we're trying to do as a give back to the profession to help people who are struggling. And we know most chiropractors that struggle, they do it in silence. So you would do them a service if you shared the podcast, and you would do us a service if you left us some positive feedback down below. It's always appreciated. Hey, many factors in healthcare. Welcome to a live audience, a Level Up live audience at a private client event we were doing in Las Vegas. And this, my friends, is the next episode of the Chiro-Factor. Hey everybody, welcome to a live episode of the Chiro-Factor. We are going to take some questions from an audience here in Las Vegas. We've got docs from all over the world that are here. Put your hands together. Let's hear your docs if you can't see it. Just four more minutes of that, please. That's all. But we believe there's many factors in health, and recognizing the fact that there's different variables, oftentimes what people forget, they don't add, they don't try, is chiropractic. And for that reason, we call this the Chiro-Factor, because oftentimes that's the X factor that makes the difference. And today we're sitting down with the wife of a chiropractor, Signi.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you for being here. And she is married to Eric, who's a chiropractor. But one of your questions I thought was super valid. And rather than just jump right in with a chiropractor here from the audience, I thought what a great way to start would be the spouse of a chiropractor and just field your perspective and your questions. And then James and I will just kind of bounce back and forth. So thanks for joining us. One more time, put your hands together. Let's go.
Thank you, docs. It's an honor to be sitting with both of you. So my question is for Dr. Chestnut. Your research shows that omega-3 and vitamin D increases white matter, helping with dementia and Alzheimer's, etc. from your research. Have you seen it increase gray matter in females who are pregnant and deal with pregnancy brain or mom brain who are newly postpartum?
I think that's just called female brain.
No.
Just kidding.
It's a 1 star, ladies and gentlemen.
This is push up my sleeves here. No.
I'm just trying to endear myself to all the ladies. But well, a couple things. It's not my research in the sense that I'm not the researcher, but
Sure,
it's the some research that I've shared. And so, yeah. I haven't seen the gray matter actually, but I should relook at that one. I'll actually bring it up tomorrow and I'll see if it says gray too, but I do know for sure it said white. But there is an awful lot of information on postpartum depression in both omega-3 and vitamin D. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, there's no doubt. Now I don't know if it's because of white matter necessarily, but there's all kinds of other reasons that depression's highly related to your gut, as we talked about today. It's highly related to inflammation. Blood sugar control, immunity. So all of those things. So I can't say specifically because I don't want to fib whether or not it's related to gray matter or not. But I'm not even sure postpartum depression is necessarily highly related to gray matter, to be honest with you. It's more likely all kinds of things with dopamine, serotonin in the gut, all kinds of other things. So I haven't seen the data that says that there's a direct link between postpartum depression or mom brain on that. But one of the other things that I find really interesting is that women often, and babies, often suffer much more in terms of like for the kids, learning disabilities and developmental delays, and the moms with postpartum depression, which is much more prevalent in women who have had their second child. And the reason that is because women who are not getting enough omega-3s, and we could throw vitamin D in there too, they will actually suck all the omega-3 out of their bodies through breast milk to give to their child, because it's so important for child brain development. And then if they're not supplementing enough in their diet, their second child, there's just not any more left to suck out. So that lack of omega-3 is directly related to the postpartum depression and mom brain, and it's also related to a lack of developmental delays in the child.
So just to kind of piggyback off of that, will you speak to a little bit of the leaky gut for babies that you talked about earlier today, and why that's a good thing, but why leaky gut is a bad thing for adults, and the differences there? Because I think that kind of ties into the mom-baby connection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so all babies are born with a leaky gut because first of all, babies are designed for one food only, and that is breast milk from their mother. So they have a leaky gut because they can't make their own immunoglobulins, so they actually get immunoglobulins from the breast milk of their mother. But if they don't have a leaky gut, those large proteins can't get across. And that's basically what autoimmunity is. Autoimmunity is when you have a leaky gut, you get these large proteins, intact proteins across that barrier, and they get into your bloodstream, and then you mount an immune response to these proteins. But if they're similar to the proteins in your body, and many of them are, then you end up mounting an immune response to self. Right, so the allergies, the atopic, the rheumatoid arthritis, these things are all highly related to the gut. And so that's one of the devastating things about not breastfeeding and about formula, which is full of what? It's full of foreign large proteins from soy or dairy. It's usually full of high fructose corn syrup as well. It's just disgusting. So I remember when I was practicing, I would have mothers bring in their formula, because I'd say, look, like if you can't, for whatever reason, you're going to want to start supplementing your breast milk, for whatever reason it is, make your own. And they were always like, I don't know, like that seems like I'm not sure if I'm smart enough to make my own, formula. I'm like, well, bring in the Gerber. Mm. And then I'd read the label to them, and they'd be horrified because they didn't read it, because they trusted it, because it was recommended to them from a pediatrician. Mm-hmm. And so, it's devastating. So the baby's gut will naturally start to close right around the same time they start to get teeth. Because when they get teeth, I've never breastfed, but apparently, I did have a cat attack my nipple one time. But anyway,
I feel like we're in an episode of the Fockers. I have nipples. Could you milk me, Focker?
Yeah, exactly. It was funny. I had these little kitten that got under the cover, and for some reason attacked my nipple. My wife thought it was the funniest thing ever, and I'm like, anyway. So, I do have very attractive nipples, but so when
this is early in the episode for the train to be off the track.
Joe Rogan, you know what I mean? So. So when the baby starts to get teeth, starts to cut teeth and has teeth, obviously that's very uncomfortable for the mother to breastfeed, but that's the indication that the child's gut is starting to close as well, because now it's starting to get ready to have different kinds of foods. So it all works perfectly well, right? And so we've just messed with that system. But the most frustrating thing for me is that the research is unequivocal. Anybody who knows anything about this knows that if you compare breastfed babies to formula-fed babies, the formula-fed babies are more obese, not only when they're young, but later. They have more developmental delays. They have more autoimmune disorders. It's criminal. Yeah. And yet these people who are so-called experts in pediatrics are still recommending formula. It's
and just to be clear, I think sometimes we steer clear of messages on this podcast of if this, take that, if this symptom, take that. And so with all fairness to your question, I think it's completely relevant to understand where that comes from, how those mechanisms are. I'd never heard that with the second baby. That's pretty fascinating, but it makes sense. Just like when they cut teeth, they're ready to eat, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, the body's amazing, and yet it's also very obvious once you see it. You go, oh yeah, of course that makes sense. Like, they have teeth so they can eat, so the gut's going to close because now there's other foods coming in for the first time, right? But can you maybe talk about having some of the essential nutrients that you mentioned on an ongoing basis, not anecdotally, but just continuously?
In what way? What do you mean? I'm not sure I understand.
For perfect health. So talking about vitamin D.
Oh, sure.
We talked about today, even for patient education, in medicine, they will give an antibiotic. We give or recommend a probiotic, antibiotic, probiotic.
Right.
Even in the language, patients will pick up on that. And I know because I have these conversations. Maybe talk to not having a symptom and then take these supplements, but just in general, fortifying your body with what it needs.
Right. So the reason you have a symptom is because you're toxic or deficient. That's the only reason your body produces a symptom, is because something's wrong, please change. That's what a symptom is. It's saying to you, something's wrong, please change. And it's not, please change your genetics or please add a drug. It's something's wrong with the way you're living or the habitat you're living in. Please change it to make it more congruent to the epigenetic expression of healthy structure and function. So when we talk about essential nutrients, what we mean is that if it's essential, it means that your cells require it in order to epigenetically express healthy structure, which is the only way you can express healthy function. But your body cannot make it. So that means you have to get it from your diet or from the sun, in terms of vitamin D, from sunlight. And so when you don't have those things, it means you cannot epigenetically express healthy structure and function. It means your immune system doesn't work properly, which means that you're going to be in a pro-inflammatory state, which we talked today, which is the underlying cause of all chronic illness. It means that then once you get that inflammatory state, it means now you're going to affect that those macrophages are going to leak out and go to other organs, and now you're going to have blood sugar issues because it's going to affect the pancreas, it's going to affect the kidneys, it's going to affect the brain, it's going to affect the gut, it's going to affect the neuromusculoskeletal system. Everything starts to degenerate when you're deficient in these nutrients. And so I think that's the distinction, which is that you don't take these nutrients to treat the symptoms or the illnesses that result from a lack of these nutrients. Those illnesses are caused by a deficiency in those nutrients. So when you supplement with these nutrients, you're addressing the underlying cause, which is the deficiency of the nutrients.
Right.
And then everything else will come along. But whether you have a symptom or not yet, has nothing to do with whether or not you need these nutrients. You need these nutrients from birth to death, 100% of the time, no exceptions.
Love it. So that idea, if your body can make it, don't take it. We talked about that as well with testosterone, testosterone replacement. Once you start taking it, you really can't even get off it because your body thinks it has enough. But the opposite is also true. If your body can't make it, you must take it. And so some of these essentials, that's what it is, and that's huge for just life, right? That's huge for everything.
And it also means that it's 100% evidence-based. Like there's no debate.
Right.
In fact, you can't even get anything categorized in biochemistry as an essential nutrient unless 100% of the time you're sick with a deficiency in it. Like that's the rule. So it's not like, like people say, it's hard to believe when you talk about, like today we were talking about omega-3 and vitamin D and probiotics. It's hard to believe that they resolve so many issues for people, from cancer to heart disease to diabetes to the breast cancer you saw to dementia to ulcerative colitis. It seems unbelievable until you understand that all of these illnesses have these common factors of high blood sugar, chronic inflammation, immune dysfunction, which is inflammation. And then you realize that you can't resolve this inflammation, all these pathways in your body that are required to maintain proper blood sugar and resolve all this inflammation that comes. These things require omega-3 and vitamin D and probiotic, and your body can't do without them. And now it makes sense. I hope that's what happened today. I hope that the people started to say, okay, now I can understand why that's so important.
And I'll give you the flip side of the coin, which is the treasure map that I follow is what did they ban? Big tech and censor and shadow ban and outright ban people from social media during BS 19. And vitamin D was one of the things that they banned from big tech being posted and shared in the science and the research of vitamin D. And I thought, I'm going to follow X marks the spot. They banned it. I want to learn about it. And so that's when you and I started having some great conversations in the middle of the lockdowns, because they put it out there. And I know where you stand on this research, but I was like, tell me more, because they banned it. I want to know. What are they hiding? Because that is a real easy treasure map for me. What did they say? No, don't take that. I go, actually, yes, we do want that, because that's super obvious. It's a pharmaceutical sales ploy. It has nothing to do with health. They make money on sickness, not on wellness.
the formula that you see, they've attacked omega-3. You'll see that now too as well. They've started to attack probiotics is because, and I mentioned the author Benskin, who's a woman PhD who just wrote such a fantastic article right at the beginning of COVID on vitamin D.
Wonder if she has woman's brain.
Yeah, she does. She's brilliant. Yeah.
You guys can laugh anytime. Shit, that was James's idea. I was just echoing that.
But what they do is they go about their business in the same way all the time, which is they try to discredit by producing research which they know, like they did with hydroxychloroquine during BS19. And so what they do is they deliberately design a study to make it fail. So they'll give a massive bolus dose of vitamin D when the research is very clear that actually has an opposite effect versus giving vitamin D in regular amounts regularly. Or they'll study constantly. They provide very low amounts or doses. So the RDA, which everyone knows is full of shit, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so then they'll give, well, we gave the RDA amount, but everybody who knows anything is saying, well, the RDA amount doesn't work. And here's all this research to show when you give the proper amount, you get the result. But then they'll test the RDA amount and say, oh, well, this doesn't work, and they're exaggerating. And it's
are you suggesting that Big Pharma is hosting science purposefully to debunk what works? They wouldn't do that, would they?
Big Pharma. It's Big Pharma.
That's right.
And it's like, they not only do they do that, by the way, to discredit things that do clearly work. I mean, I don't know if anybody doubted anything today. Like, should I have shown more articles?
Right.
Yeah, God knows, Chestnut. Yeah. And
you're making a lot of friends.
Yeah. Well, I don't really need the gig, so F it. But it's like, but then the other thing they do is they design their studies to deliberately make their products look good. And they just lie about, like, first we talked about this in podcasts, like the absolute versus relative difference for cholesterol medications and blood pressure medications. Like, they absolutely are diabolically dishonest and fraudulent. Like, it's not maybe. And and then you find out that 50% of the research in the journals are absolutely shit. They can't replicate them. This is from the editor of the New England Journal of Medicine, basically saying it's so far gone and bought now you can't trust anything. Like,
She just came out and said that, right? She was the editor-in-chief of the New England Journal of Medicine.
Correct, for 10 years. And then Doshi, who was the editor, who was the assistant editor, then the editor for the British Medical Journal, and the guy who was I forget his name now, for the Lancet. Like, it is like, it's not conspiracy theory. It's like the people who are in the know are basically saying it's so far gone now.
Yeah.
That you can't trust anything. And for those of us who love science, because I do, it's depressing. Yeah. It's just like, why? This didn't have to happen this way, but it was because everybody got bought. And then you have this illusion of knowledge of these MDs who get basically taught by a pharmaceutical rep or a vaccine rep that comes by. They don't know anything. Right. They have no clue about the research. They're not scientists. They're clinicians. They don't even have research methodology backgrounds. But everyone, they've just been built up by Big Pharma as being scientific and whatever else. And so it's like, yeah, I mean, it gets frustrating because it's causing enormous harm, and it doesn't have to. Like there is a better solution that's very simple. And I was talking to somebody today at the break. As I said, 90% of the time, 9% of the people will be 90% better in 90 days. Right?
Say that again.
So basically, if you follow this protocol of getting them moving and getting the nutrients into them and getting them to do some things at home, basically that will, because we know what causes these chronic illnesses, the things that most people are suffering from are very similar. And the causes of these things that they're suffering from, whether it's heart disease, diabetes, obesity, all of the chronic illness, they all have these common causes, which we talked about today. There's no doubt in anybody's mind, I'm sure, right, that it's inflammation and chronic high blood sugar, and and inflammation is that immune dysfunction and the autoimmunity. And so these things are all caused by the same thing. So the solutions are the same, and they're all lifestyle related. And no drug can fix a lifestyle problem. No drug's going to fix a nutritional deficiency or toxicity. No drug's going to fix a lack of segmental motion or exercise. No drug's going to resolve a problem caused by lack of self-esteem or self-love or gratitude or any of these things. It's not possible.
Right.
But these are the things that are causing this pandemic of chronic illness. And so it's like, if you understand that, and then you have this protocol which addresses what the main causal factors or these main rocks in the backpack that I always talk about, you can address those very easily in 90 days and shift them. You're not going to be perfect yet, but they're going to have a major shift. And anything that doesn't shift with that, I would say, that's something that you might look at and go, maybe something weirder is going on here. Maybe something's further down the road in terms of cancer. Maybe these are all things that can happen.
And just to give you credit, you said 90%.
Of
you
course.
didn't say 100%, right? So there could be other things. So we're open and realistic about all of this. But what isn't working is high fructose corn syrup. What isn't working is, formula for babies from an early age that completely throw their biorhythms off for the rest of their life. And that could be shown up in longitudinal studies. It's just criminal. And so you helped us do a really important thing. Number one, get him fired up. It's really good. And number two, your brilliance of the question I knew would take many different layers. And then number three is just sitting here. You beautified the podcast. So I really appreciate it. Usually we got some ugly dudes sitting up here, and I'm anticipating that next. So put your hands together. Let's hear it. And I would say, while he reads the next question, I got one of the nicest testimonials from her regarding her and her husband's practice. And it's one of those I was just sharing. I said, that's in my top drawer because, like many of you guys, I'm in practice. I do what you do. And there's rough days, right? I have my rough days too. And so there's been a number of times in Brooka as well. I've got two of my favorite testimonials are spouses of chiropractors. And I read their thank you notes because that matters to me too. So let's hear it for the support in the room. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Hey docs, before we bring our next guest to the microphone, the reason I mentioned the spouses' testimonials and the handwritten thank you cards from some of the chiropractors' spouses at home is the results matter. Said differently, there's quantifiable results within the level up system, meaning your profits will go up. And as James and I always say, we want to build ethical millionaires. We believe patient outcomes should directly correspond to doctor income. So if you want to be one of those people that has a testimonial or a story to share, and you want to take your monthly income and start to make that weekly, which we've done hundreds of times, then you can join us at the Elements of Closing workshop, where we teach you the day one, day two, and you can do ongoing coaching online. Or a second avenue is if you message me on Instagram at Dr. Glow DC, I'll follow up with you myself and I can put you in an online coaching group before the workshops are in your continent or in your region. So in other words, you can come to the Elements workshop, or you can start online with small group coaching and accountability coaching even before workshops are in Australia or in the UK or anywhere in the US that works for you, meaning you can start today. I love having those thank you cards from the spouses. And in these two situations, it was the wives of chiropractors who were also pregnant with baby number 2 or 3, depending on the situation. And what I love is the anxiety, the stress that they had with baby number 1, they weren't experiencing with the next baby because they had switched the systems. They had started running level up systems and using the science and the philosophy that James and I teach. I am the only certified coach that follows the Chestnut protocols that is Chestnut certified, meaning I'm the only one Chestnut says you should train with this coach. It's Brad. So if you like what James and I talk about on this podcast, you enjoy the content and being right scientifically without abandoning your philosophy, then join us at the Elements of Closing workshop, which is a 2-day workshop, or message me at Dr. Glow DC. I'm on Instagram, Dr. Glow DC, and I'll follow up with a message where you can do the online coaching, or what we call the Level Up Academy. Level Up Academy is online first, workshop stuff later, which means you can start next week. Hey, I'm excited because these are the opportunities we provide doctors that kind of have come organically off this podcast. And maybe most specifically, this is where we have the results that show up in your bank account. Let's go back to the podcast, and I hope you're ready to take some notes because the content from here on out is going to be loaded. Look, our website is levelupmentoring.rocks because it's not a .com, it rocks. Levelupmentoring.rocks or Dr. Glow DC on Instagram. Yeah, when I have my bad days, I pull that stuff out and I read it. I call it my brag file. right? So I would encourage you, patient testimonials, letters from, patients or significant others. I have my brag file. I read it and it makes me feel better, and you dust yourself off and you get back out there, because not every day is payday, right? Not every day is fun to be in practice, and some days you take it on the chin, and some days we lose patients. Raise your hand if you've ever lost a patient in your practice, right? Like that's not an easy thing. What we do and the work we do matters. So I really appreciate it for many reasons. So,
yeah, awesome. If I may, I just want to follow up on that just a little bit, which is that the importance of this to understand, and your value for you to understand, is that everybody needs you. Some people might need someone else in addition to you, but no one needs someone else instead of you.
Ooh,
and so this is what you have to understand, right? Which is so even if that 90%, even if I think it's 98%, I'm going to be honest with you, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It just means that the vast majority of people have no hope except the protocols we were talking about today. They have no hope. And what they're going to get is not only not going to work, but it's going to harm them and make them have a worse, shorter life. But it is just because it's possible that somebody might need somebody in addition to you, doesn't mean that all the work that you did in those 90 days didn't have a massive benefit for them.
Yeah.
And so, because everybody needs this. There's no one who doesn't need to get adjusted. There's no one who doesn't need to get the essential nutrients. There's no one who doesn't need to learn some very basic lifestyle things to go home, you know, and have some gratitude and all the things that we talk about. But so I think that's really important for chiropractors, because you're kind of the answer to every board question if for chiropractors is refer out, right? And I think that you lose this confidence because you think that if somebody needs something else, that somehow you failed them, or that they should have gone there first. That's bullshit. Right. Unless they're in an emergency, acute situation, and we're not all crazy. No one's crazy here, right? Someone comes in and, obviously we're decent people. We care about our patients, and our egos aren't in the way of someone who needs emergency intervention.
Right.
We're much less likely to behave in that hideous way than the medical profession, who would let people die before they refer them to a chiropractor. Right. So fuck them. Right. You know what I mean? I'm just so sorry, but fuck them.
So the idea is that everybody needs you. Some people need someone else in addition to you.
But not instead of. But the truth is, not like the vast majority. Imagine the difference for somebody who's suffering from all these things: diabetes, obesity, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, depression, anxiety, whatever this is. Like, imagine the bullshit they get that has no evidence. Thousands of articles published, but no evidence. Valid evidence, scientific evidence that it's going to help them, but we have and it's going to harm them. Yeah. And so this idea, you have to think about what the tragedy is if they don't start with you. Mm-hmm. Now, if someone's saying acutely at risk of suicide, that's not your gig, right?
Right.
We all get it. But does that mean that they don't need the omega-3s and the vitamin D and the adjustment? Or absolutely not. They need it. Everybody needs it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I just think that's really important, because I think chiropractors get beat up a little bit and their confidence goes down a little bit, but everybody needs what we were talking about today. Everybody, every day for life.
Love it. Yeah, and if they have those ideations, love it. Yep. Who do we need?
I've got Joshua, is it Caxus?
Josh, put your hands together for Josh, all right. So Josh is a chiropractor in Australia. We are here at a Level Up event. We call this a private client event. Docs here only are in Level Up. Flew up from Australia to be here, so cool that you've got a question worth reading and repeating. Rather than us read it, why don't you give us your interpretation or reading of that shit handwriting? No offense, it's awful.
I feel like you only called me up next because you said somebody else beautified the seat, and you said some ugly guy normally sits here.
100%.
Wait a minute, that's a South African accent, is it not?
My wife's South African.
Oh, that's why you picked it up. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm not going there.
Again, firstly, thank you for inviting me over to your practice last week. Yeah. And again, to be here is a huge honor. To listen to James speak again is fantastic. My question actually stemmed from a conversation we were having at a bar on Saturday night, and we were talking about the growth of different practices and something that stood out was you said it's just a decision. And so we were talking about growing from, a specific client base to the next level, or to go from, a $500,000 practice to $1 million practice, or a $1 million practice to a $2 million practice. And what you said, it's just a decision. And so the question comes from, what do you mean by it's just a decision, and how is that something that can be implemented for everybody?
Good question. I'm going to back it up a little bit, just because we do something in my office, we call it Fight Club. And what Fight Club is total transparency. So we have a wall that we blew out. It's a one-way mirror, so people can see the table talk. They can hear it. We pipe it in. My patients know we do this. It's a learning center. But I just got sick of the bullshit in the profession of people faking it and talking about things and then not doing it, or holding chiropractors to a standard they didn't even do themselves. And it was wearing on the chiropractors. And I just thought, rather than curse the darkness, I'm going to show what we really do. So what we do in seminars is the same thing we do in the practice. In fact, the practice came first and then the seminars came later. We're just teaching it. So for total transparency, we're in the office for 3 full days. We do everything together, including having a pint. And his question, because it was kind of going multiple layers of how do you do this and how do you do this? And at some point I just had to stop and I just said, it's just a decision. Like, you just have to decide you want it. Well, what about this and what about that? And this is where I affectionately say, you're fighting for your limitations. And so what I was hearing you get into was, yeah, but I can't do this and I can't do that. It's like, says who? And what you needed was a voice that says, no, you can do it. No, you just have to decide first. I can fill in the how, but kind of what we were just talking about with Kim, the intention. Like, if your intention is to go to that next level, and you don't have to, then that's not something I say every chiropractor has to do, but you wanted to, and I know you well, and I know you really wanted to, and it's like, let's just start with a decision. Is this what you want? And if it's what you want, then let's rewrite the playbook. Because sometimes that has to happen, right? We have to scrap the procedures we were doing. We have to change something in the office. We have to create a shift somewhere, but it can't be me that wants to do that. It has to be you. And so once we know what the decision is, and then I would follow up with, why do you want to do this? And your answer was spot on, and this is a credit to you, was just, I want to help more people. I think I can help more people feel better. I think I can serve a bigger capacity who are going to get it. I think I can work more efficiently and be faster so that their visits are better. And when I hear those answers, I go, yeah, let's lean into this conversation. So rather than make it super complicated, because complexity equals risk. Right? In a patient's mind, if it's complex, then there's pushback, and then we talk about reactance, which is like, I don't want to change everything, but if you make it simple, then people will want to do it. And that starts with you, the doctor, and then all the way down the line with the procedures. So whatever it is we were talking about that you wanted to do, I could feel you pushing back a little bit, and I go, this can't be my idea. It has to be your idea. If it's your idea, you'll back it, you'll implement it, right? And what's really cool about people coming into the practice and doing all the procedures that you and I teach at best practices and the implementation, it's like at some point it comes down to, okay, what do I need to do differently? Like, that's a really healthy question. First, decide. Number 2, give me your why. And then number 3, we can get into the hows and the whats. And then we started doing office designs, and all kinds of stuff, right? So for me, a lot of times it isn't complex. Right? We just have to make it simple. We have to make it clear. And to be unclear is to be unkind. And so if we can have some clarity around it, it's really easy and it just kind of flows. And wherever the conversation was at that point, I don't exactly remember, but it had nothing to do with the pints, by the way. It just, but to me, it was just kind of like, if that's where you want to go, then we can do that. And whatever you think a lot is, there's probably a chiropractor that did more, and it's not, you don't have to adjust the way I adjust. You do it your way. But the truth is, yeah, there's a flow and an ease to a practice when we're talking efficiency. And the benefit is people get better. It's like patient outcomes should equal doctor income.
100%. When I read that, by the way, this is what I love most about Brad, is that you can go watch his practice,
right,
and see that he's not full of shit. To be honest, right? Yeah. I mean, you're full of shit, but you're not full of shit about this. That's why I love him. Brad and I share a brain. We always joke with that, right? We're kind of like, have you seen, are you old enough to know what The Odd Couple is? You remember The Odd Couple?
There's some old fuckers in
there. Yeah. I saw some
they have
really
Packers
old
jerseys on.
Anyway,
that's how you find them.
Yeah.
Senile bastards.
Yeah. But when I saw your question, Josh, my first thing that I thought of was, what isn't a decision? Like, any change you want in your life, which one of those isn't a decision? Where are you now in your life that isn't based on a decision? Everything is based on a decision. Yeah. So the reality is that I think for a lot of people is that what you're really asking is it possible? Right? And because, of course, if you don't believe it's possible, then it's hard to commit to it. But once you understand, and I think that's one of the great gifts that Brad has, when we were having that conversation, over in Edinburgh, which was like, Brad's like, not only is it possible, I've done it lots of times. And that's like the 4-minute mile, right? Like after the 4-minute mile was broken, it was broken every week for the next however long, right? Because, but it had to be possible first. And I think there's two things that I like most about working with Brad. And one is that he's done it and he's like, yeah, that's possible. Let's do it. What do you want? All those things. And then the other one is that, he can show you rather than tell you.
Right.
Which I think is really important, is credibility.
Yeah. And for me, when we adjust, I don't know how many we saw when you were there in the hour, but it's one of those, like, I just come around the corner and I'm like, what'd you see? Because I don't even know what it is anymore. I just do it. You know what I mean? I just adjust. I just talk. We just flow. I'm thinking 2 moves ahead. And they're like, you said this thing. I'm like, oh, cool. What'd I say? It's just, to me, it's like, it's intuitive at this point. And I want more chiropractors on that level, because you're not in your head, you're in your heart, right? And you're just flowing from a heart space, not a head space. And I think when you're really adjusting in a volume practice, whatever volume means to you, but whatever the bigger number is for you, you want to stuff it down here. And that means the finances need to be handled. People need to be on a care plan. You have to know you're going to do your re-exams. If all that ancillary stuff, then you just focus on this adjustment. And the intention could come through where it feels like so much more time, but it doesn't have to be a huge chunk of time.
And the other thing I love about this, Brad, is like we had some, like Rick and I, we had some friends who went over to Australia like after they graduated, and they did locums.
Right.
And they were thrown into a practice with 300 visits a week or whatever it was, and they're like shitting themselves. Like, this isn't the hour and a half I was taught at CMCC or whatever. Right. And then all of a sudden it's possible.
Right.
Because necessity.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big deal about you, the idea of trying to hook up these students with somebody who's busy and who isn't just trying to feast off them or whatever, but which is like, no, I'm busy, so I need somebody. And then like to fill in maybe when the doc goes on holiday or whatever, right? And now all of a sudden, it not only is it possible, but you just did it because you had to.
Yeah. And we have an abundance of students that actually want to be associates. And that's the flip of what you hear in the profession. But I'm selective where we place them, because that's your mentor. And whether you know it or not, that is who you will practice like. Whether you like them or dislike them, it doesn't matter. You will practice like that person. So I'm selective. We've got $1 million, $2 million, $3 million practices in this room practicing principled chiropractic. And people, again, tell me that's not possible. I don't really need your approval. We're already doing it. Put your hands together if you guys would agree this is a hugely successful group. Yeah? You guys would agree with that? And what's cool is that's not my success, that's your success. But we have an abundance of students that want to work in successful practices, and we have other docs in the profession that just want to get the hell out of there. Well, I'm not putting a student in that environment. It just doesn't work, right? So I think the way we regentrify the profession is we pull students into successful offices, have mentors, and continue that process and just pay it forwards. And if we can continue to do that, we can grow this profession.
And the other thing you're going to see is when you start using these protocols is that you're going to have the same swagger like Brad does. Oh yeah, of course that's possible, because you're going to see these people get better. Most of you, I shouldn't say most of you, because it's a very different room than I'm often talked to, but most chiropractors haven't seen what happens after 90 days.
Right.
Of following this protocol, because it's life-changing. And, Dr. Baxter will tell you, and, I've got thousands of testimonies of people that, like, even in the book, I put some in there, right? We just ran out of room, but it's just like these people who were told there's no hope, and they're better. Yeah. And it's just like you just gain an enormous amount of confidence and swagger, which is like, of course, the other system failed you. It has no chance to work. It doesn't address the cause. You get that confidence when you're talking to patients too, and it makes a big difference.
I love it. And then again, what we do, we call it Fight Club. People come in, it's no holds barred. It's what it is. It's not aggro. It's actually really calm, right? It's a lot of introspection. But I'm going to throw a question to you and just say, with that transparency, what would be, in less than a minute, what would be a takeaway you saw, something you got, what helped you? Because I'm always curious too, what resonates.
There was so many different takeaways. We saw you adjust 54 people in the hour, and there was about 14, 15 of us, and you started pulling us out to get adjusted as well in that same hour, which was really cool. It was low, it was slow, but it was intentional. Every single person that you were adjusting had your complete 100% intention, your undivided love, and the adjustment was super specific. So, you know, they gained so much out of that time that they were with you. There was definitely no lack of value, and so, you know, that value proposition that we talk about all the time, you know, it was super clear. There was a lot of different takeaways. I loved the most about how well your team was and how much of an environment that you'd built to make everything just so streamlined. It was a well-oiled machine that just, you know, chugged along really well, really nicely all the way through. And, you know, the patients can also experience that as well. They know when something's running really well, and they know when there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of, you know, a disorientation between different team members, and, you know, conflict as well. Like, there was no drama, there was no BS. It was, you know, clear cut. Everything was smooth and easy. So, yeah.
Love it. So twice a year, we have docs from all over the world, 4 continents, fly in to just see it. It's not a stadium. It's not meant for everybody, but I do like the validation from time to time so other people hear it. It's like, I can't have everybody in that wants to come in because we didn't build the office for that. It's a practice. It's real. But when people do come in, they see a lot of those intangibles. And I'm going to throw myself under the bus before we switch up the question. But my goal is always for it to be patient-focused. So much so, and you can think differently after this statement, but we don't celebrate birthdays in my practice. If you're a CA or a doc, I don't want to hear about your birthday because it's all about the patients. So I'm telling on myself, but the truth is that's how far I take it. Like, if it's your birthday, that's personal time, but I don't want balloons and flowers at the front desk all week and happy birthday. It's about the patients. If it's their birthday, we'll celebrate their birthday. But as a team, we're service oriented. So maybe that's an extreme, but all the comments all day long, like, you know, oh, it's your birthday, it's great. My neck is killing me. Oh my gosh, it's your birthday, it's awesome. I have a serious question. I almost felt obligated. And I'm like, hey, we're not for that. So if you want to celebrate your birthday for a month, this is the wrong place to work. That's my mentality. Does that make sense? Like, it's really got to be patient-centered. Like, it's my birthday month. I'd find another fucking job now here, you know? But does that make sense? It makes it really easy when we're all on one mission. It's to help the patients. It's not about us. And so the truth is, I have phenomenal people around me. Couldn't do it without them. I'm super appreciative. And it's reproducible. You know, it's reproducible. Other docs can do that. You got to spend time with your team. It's not exposure, it's training, all the stuff that we went through today with Level Up. It's about really spending some time and getting deep with them. So put your hands together. Let's hear it for Josh. Yeah. Hey, Docs, quick sidebar. When it comes to seeing a volume in practice, I have to give some context to that point that was just made from Josh. You see, he flew up from Australia to see me in practice, and we did see 54 people on average per hour for the afternoon. Now, that might sound excessive, but you have to understand majority of those people each hour are wellness patients. They're asymptomatic. How we got there is because what we do in our day 1, day 2 that is so different than what's out there in the rest of the profession is I take my time in the report of findings to lay down content and information that I will need later in their care to re-sign them to wellness care. Meaning what I do in my report of findings isn't a sprint to be done and a transaction. I take my time, and it's only 12 minutes, but in 12 minutes, I put down the pillars that I need to re-sign them so we get them into wellness care. And my numbers for my students, for the other docs I teach and Level Up, is they're usually 10% higher at their re-signs than the report of findings rate. So if a doc is 70% at their report of findings, 80% of patients move on to wellness care. The reason I can see 54 in an hour comfortably is most of those people don't have symptoms. Look, this is just another reason why we think you should check out our Elements of Closing workshop, or even better, is join us for the online academy, the Level Up Academy, where we can teach you things virtually an hour a week and eventually get you the content in full to change your practice to a subscription model, which is different than a membership model. A membership model used to be pay $100, get all the chiropractic care you can get. My model, the subscription model, is be the highest paid doc in town, but have predictable income 4 months down the road, 6 months down the road, because if you do this right, your wellness patients will hit your bank account on the first day of the month and all your bills are paid. Therefore, day 2 of the month, you're profitable. Look, I don't want to do too much on this, but I know when we talk numbers, chiropractors get nervous. They wonder, how could you possibly do it? Which is why we had Josh and other docs come in and see it live. It's no joke. And then it's reproducible. If you want to build a subscription practice, you want to build a wellness practice where you have predictable income, then message me on Instagram, Dr. Glow DC, and I'll follow up with the Level Up Academy online training. It's an hour a week with an hour of homework. And the rest, well, we're taking monthly incomes and we're turning it into a weekly income for most chiropractors. If you want to take your monthly, start to make it weekly, you'll join hundreds of docs who've already done the same. Let me know, Dr. Glow DC on Instagram. Let's go back to our next guest. Thank you so much.
Well, I think, Brad, one of the things that I often come across with people is that, first of all, they freak out if you tell them that you saw that many people because they just can't, they don't see it because they've never seen it. But the other one is, what I think is so valuable is that you got that number of people in there so that you could serve that many. Right. A lot of people struggle with two things. One is, how do I get them in the office in the first place? How do I get new patients? And then how do I have a system that allows me to keep getting new patients and keep filling up and growing my practice? So I think those are two really important things that you do well.
Thank you. And I'll add one quick thing for the listeners. Number one, the way we do our report of findings is so that people will stay on with us. Mm-hmm. And that's a different perspective than what most chiropractors learn 100%. Or what's being taught. They're being taught a transaction at the report of findings. Get them in now. These visits only. I'm laying down a road for ongoing, what you and I call a duration practice, right? I'm laying down things in the report of findings that we're going to need to use later, but I can't put them in later. I have to wind it all the way back to the beginning. So a lot of it is just also having asymptomatic patients. Right. Tune Up Tuesday. People that come in don't have aches or pains. I'm not hammering 18 different adjustments. It's 2, maybe 3 spots. Yeah. We're good. Specific, asymptomatic. You can see a lot of people that way. So to give that comment of the number some reference, they didn't have symptoms. I'm looking at my brother Marvin Hall right here. Guy played in the NFL for a decade. One of the sweetest human beings on planet Earth. He's here just to take photos with members, but guy was 4.28 at the combine, if I'm not mistaken, right? 4th fastest combine time. He's been a patient for years. He comes to these events when we're in town just because he's an awesome soul. But we have pro athletes. So people go, you can't see high volume and give good care. I let Marvin talk about that because it's like, no, that's exactly what we do. We give great care, and so do you guys. So one more time, put your hands together for the care you guys give. I think it's awesome. What do you have, buddy?
Dan Martingano, I believe.
Dan. Is Dan in the weight room? No.
Does he have bigger pipes? No. We don't need any muscle guys up here. Let's look bad.
Take your time, Dan.
That's at 8.29 in the combine.
The jokes stop when he sits down. We're like, I'm not going to mess with him.
Yeah. Hi.
So, let me read.
Or ask it either way. Yeah.
Okay, so adding essential nutrients into our care plans as we go through, we do list. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, this is for this. When we're going through that, if we have a patient who is saying something along the lines of, I already take my fish oils, I get them from wherever.
Costco, usually.
Walmart, whatever, yeah. So, and it's not going to be good, but you don't want to veer too far into getting off track with that. Or if, what's the most efficient way to have them switch from whatever they're taking into the much better product.
I'm going to jump in real quick on that, and I'll turn it over to you, because this happens a lot in the day one. I have people saying, I'm taking these supplements. I go, what I was talking about was essential nutrients. They're totally different. Supplements are optional. Nutrients are essential. But coincidentally, where do you get your supplements from? And what's the number one answer? You just said it.
Walmart.
Or?
Costco.
Yeah.
CVS.
I go, you're getting them from Walmart or Costco? Oof. Hope we don't see them on the x-rays. Oof. And they go... What does that mean? And I go, they're just not being digested. But we'll probably see it on the x-rays. Are they quarter tabs, or are they going to be sideways? Like, what am I going to see? Because there's no way your body's absorbing it. And I just plant the seed of doubt, because it is shit product, right? And I'm like, they make that thing up with a broomstick in a trash bin, but do you feel different when you take them? Like, I'm like, so you like, okay. And I just leave it at doubt. Does that make sense? So in the day one, the consultation, I'm taking supplements. I go, are they essential nutrients or supplements? So my question percolates another question. They go, What's the difference? Oh, one's essential. Your body can't make it. The other one, it's optional. Just don't tell me you're getting them at Walgreens or Costco. And they go, yeah, that's exactly. I go, oof. Hope we don't see them on the x-rays. And they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, we'll get into the digestive questions if you have any digestive issues, but that might be the clog in the drain. Keep going. And I just sit back, and you could just see the wheels turn, and they're like, what the mother, father? And I'm like, I got more of that shit. You know what I mean? It's like, but for the listeners, use it. Just ask them, supplement, essential. And I just say, I hope you're not getting them at Walmart or Costco. And they go, 9 times out of 10, yeah, that's where I'm getting them. Or there used to be a place called GNC. Right. GNC. So I don't even know if it's around anymore. So I'll let you rephrase your question. But as a procedure for the docs listening, that's exactly what you do. So that's like a no BS procedure. You can use it, drop the doubt, and then the report of findings. If you do see it, and sometimes I do, I go, oh, looks like ascorbic acid, looks like you swallowed a quarter, looks, and they're like, you can see that? I'm like, yeah, because your body's not actually breaking it down. Right. So re-ask your question. I won't hijack it.
No, that's good. That's good.
I was either that or I was going to make fun of you for being out of breath walking up here. Just for safety reasons.
Back in the room, big room.
There's that awkward silence. You're like, hey, to James. And I'm like, this is going to go sideways. But I didn't do that. Did you notice how nice I was?
You're very nice. Thank you.
Now I'm not.
Okay. So yeah. And then, so if I already take the fish oils like that, or what's the most efficient way to switch them from whatever product they're on onto ours?
Right. So I would only say to people, look, there's some things that you don't want to buy based on price, right? So quality matters, right? So what you're putting into your body matters. Yeah. And so are those third party tested? Are they contaminant free? Are they oxidation free? And they usually are what? And I'm like, okay, well, the reason I use an 8 Choice is because I actually know the guy who formulated them. And he's whatever you want to describe.
He's an expert.
Good looking. He's an
tall,
expert.
Dark, and handsome.
Yeah. But it's like, and you could say, well, I know that this product is the best quality possible. It's third party tested. It's oxidation free. Could you take one of those capsules from Costco or Walmart and chew it? Or because if you can't, if it tastes or smells fishy, what do you know? It's rotten. It means it's actually harming you because it's already oxidized. So when you take a fish out of the ocean, does it smell like disgusting fish?
If it smells, it's already oxidized?
Yeah.
I didn't know it.
For sure. So if you ever spill fish oil anywhere, like just move. Like that. We had a guy who the whole thing broke in his front door, and he's like, dude, what should I do? It's starting to smell like move. Because it's terrible. But when you catch
or just pull a Gavin Newsom and burn it down.
Yeah, burn it. So if you take a fish out of the ouch. If you catch a fish, right, it doesn't smell like fish. It doesn't smell like that. You go to a salmon stream that's spawning and they're rotting. What does it smell like? So that's because it's oxidized. But the other thing is, like, these fish they're carnivorous, so they really bioaccumulate a lot of the toxins. So that's why we have ours. We filter ours through organic clay, and then there's another process that we use. So it's all third-party testing. At the end of it, it's free of all contaminants, free of PCBs, free of heavy metals, free of oxidation. So quality matters. Yeah. And so you don't want to be buying things that you're putting into your mouth or your child's mouth that are based on price. That you want a fair price based on the best quality, and that's what these supplements represent for sure.
I think you hit on something that was worth the underscore. Or your children.
Right.
It's amazing how people will compromise for themselves, but when you say or their children, they're like, ooh, I had that reaction. You just said it, and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that either. So like a lot of times something bigger than self is the people you love, and you go, I wouldn't.
And the price difference is not that much. Yeah. It's not like they're paying 10 times more or whatever. It's like, no. And then with the probiotic, it'd be like, well, are you taking dairy probiotics? Because they're for cows. Right. So all these people telling you to eat yogurt and stuff, well, that's, that the dairy probiotics, like the breast milk of a cow is meant for a baby cow.
Right.
So what you want is to have the probiotic bacteria that are normal for a human being.
Right.
And that's what my product is, one of the very few who does that. So it's, we got lots of ideas for you. And if you're ever struggling with this, what I'll tell you is if you email us at an 8 Choice, we will always answer you. If you send us a label of a product, we'll always go over it for you and point and give you an answer to it. Like that's I have 2 chiropractors working for me.
Who are brilliant.
Yeah, and they're so familiar with this, but that's why we do it that way. So it's like we are your resource.
Yeah.
So if you need help with any of this, you just email us and we get back to you every time, no exceptions.
I message Rick Baxter, and he's like a wealth of knowledge on this, and he'll
Yeah,
go slow
100%.
and understand it. Any part 2 on that question or anything else? But I gave you a hard time. I feel like I should give you like half a question extra. No, just because I love you. That's an affection thing. You know that, right? If I give you a hard time, it's because I love this guy. He's got 4 awesome boys, beautiful wife. Anything else you want to ask?
No, that you guys hit it. You guys hit it good from both angles too. That was good.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Put your hands together for Dan Martin.
Next one is from Casey Johnson.
Oh yeah. Let's go.
His hair too good. He can't come up. That's ridiculous.
He doesn't have a bad hair day. The guy wakes up, he puts
Sam
that
Malone
helmet on. He
coming
just
up
puts
here.
that helmet on and he walks around all day. Look at that. He's good looking. He's taking a name tag out, swagging up to the mic. You ever get tired of looking good?
I do. I don't know about you, but you know, to me, it's tiresome sometimes. I'm more than
going.
just a pretty face, you know.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for having me up here. This is somewhat legible, so we'll see what we can do. I guess my question is really like, with all the talk of like MAHA and the changing kind of climate that we're in, all the work that Bobby Kennedy's doing, you know, what are some of the actionable steps that you could do in your office to kind of have an impact, really get the conversations going, or, you know, kind of move the motivation?
So we had a doc in for Fight Club, and I know you were there 6 months ago. Pete Rom is his name. I want to give him credit. Pete Rom has multiple chiropractors in his family, so brothers, spouses, he just a really phenomenal chiropractic family. And I think this is like probably massive value for every listener and everybody here. He called it MAHA, MYHA, make yourself healthy again. So I did a MAHA tour in Australia, and they're like, you know, that has like remnants of, and that's political, and did you know? And I was like, it's just make Australia healthy again is what I was doing, just like make America, make the world healthy. And he changed it to MYHA, make yourself healthy again. So take the politics out of it. So I would enter there, the conversation, and say, what are you doing to make yourself healthy again? I'll tell you what works in booming practices, and I'll talk about you in a minute, is just getting people engaged. Right? Responsibility is theirs. We're a facilitator, we're a doctor, and maybe in addition to other doctors, but they have to do their job. So raise your hand if you like the idea of MYHA, make yourself healthy again. Keep your hands up if you'd be willing to do something around that in the next 90 days before the end of the year. Cool? So if we could, just to give Pete credit, will you put your hands together and give Pete Rom some love? Yeah? So he's not here, but it's his idea, and I want to give him credit. So I'll leave it at that, and then kind of let you pick it up.
Sure. So it's interesting because for the docs that have been doing the eat well, move well, think well stuff for all these years, we're ahead of it.
Yeah.
And so it's like nothing new. But for the ones who are new, one of the things about Bobby Kennedy is that's controversial is the vaccine side.
Right.
But if you talk to anybody, say, well, wouldn't you like to have kids who are less obese and are healthier and get the garbage food out of the schools and not have all the food stamp money, you know, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars a day going to candy and soda? And everybody agrees that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what we do here. We do eat well, move well, think well. And so it's like we've always been about that. We love that side of it. But I always think, like you say, the thing that's negative about Bobby Kennedy in some people's eyes, not for us obviously, but is that side.
Right.
And so you don't have to get into that. Why bother?
Yeah.
But if you get into the healthy kid side and they get rid of chronic illness side, who doesn't agree with that?
Right.
And I think that's a great idea. And for me, I mean, it's free, so you can. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but if you go to our innatechoice.com, like we'll give you my Eat Well, Move Well, Think Well free newsletter every month that you can hand out to your patients or email out to your patients or as many people as you want. It's free.
Yeah.
And we're only on these topics. We've been doing these for like 10 years. So it's like we've got so many of them in the back issues as well. And so you can use them. But what I like to do is I like to have a topic of the week or a topic of the day so that you and your CAs decide what it's going to be. And it's like then you've got a question sitting there for when people come in so that you have your table talk, but there's a topic. So maybe it's about omega-3s, maybe it's about exercise, whatever it is. But make your office something that's got a conversation about getting people healthy all the time. And then I think that you become the thought leaders of that.
To be fair, he's been a client of yours for 15 years. Pete. So he does Eat Well, Think Well, Move Well. Pete, the guy that we're talking about, has been an avid, doc for saying you got to do your part and you have to do this and you got to do your part and that means you got to eat like this. And so out of that, he's like, I'm just going to do MYHA, take that out of it. But I have no reservations on my love for Bobby Kennedy and the fact that he's talking 100%. About everything that he's talking, including the vaccines.
He's the greatest gift that's ever happened. I mean, can you imagine what the chances were that he's in the position he's in?
That's right.
It's mind-boggling. And now you see the Senate hearing with Ron Johnson and you've got Aaron Siri there. Like, honestly, things are changing because information, thank God Elon Musk bought Twitter. Like, these things have all come together. And it's an incredible perfect storm for us. It's incredible.
Yeah, and it's been suppressed pharmaceutical information that they didn't want out. Yes. We're doing this interview 2 days after the unfortunate shooting of Charlie Kirk, and these people that are speaking out know that they're putting their lives on the line, including Bobby Kennedy, who lost his father and his uncle. I don't ever want to lose sight of that. Like, this is a guy that's experienced it firsthand, and yet he's going right into the line and just saying, I'm going to tell it like it is. And
his family's horrible to him. Like, his family that's alive is horrible to him. Like, it's the things that you have to put up with when you're an outlier, right? Like, I think it was George Bernard Shaw said, the reasonable person does what everyone else is doing. Right. The unreasonable person does something completely different. Therefore, all progress in the history of humanity has been due to the unreasonable. Yeah. And so you've got to, like, chiropractors are outliers, but the truth is this MAHA movement is the chiropractic movement. What's different about it than what we've been talking about for 100 years? Nothing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And look, Bobby Kennedy's bringing up a lot of things to light. He's like, these are just the facts. Like, he's the messenger, and he's just saying, this is what Big Pharma buried. This is what they didn't want you to know. In a couple months, we're going to sit down with Del Bigtree and do this interview in Chiro-Factor with Del Bigtree, who's also pushing out the truth and the information. And he's like, I'm guided by God. If they want to put a bullet in me, he's like, I've already been at peace with that. And I go, wow, that's a different level of certainty, right? Yeah. Bobby Kennedy, the same thing. And the truth is, I got a chance to meet Charlie Kirk, and I posted some of the photos. I was actually in LA with my wife. It was my birthday. I just got done saying we don't celebrate birthdays. I don't even celebrate my own. My wife's birthday is Christmas Day, so I'm like, I always give her my birthday and I give my wife presents. But we were in LA having lunch. Charlie Kirk sat down with his wife, and we're looking over and we're gaggling and doing whatever, but just wanted to leave him be. Guy's super busy. And so, we're having our lunch, and my wife likes to embarrass me, so a cake comes out and she's happy birthday, and I'm like, I freaking hate this. Like, I don't know what I don't know why I don't like birthdays. It was one of those things, like, my mom did the work, I'm just here, So anyway, we're there, and Charlie leans over and goes, hey, happy birthday. And I said, hey man, thank you so much, it's really cool. Mrs. Kirk, would it be okay if I took a photo with your husband? I don't want to interrupt your time. And he said, we'll call it a birthday present. Come on over, let's take a photo. And so that was my interaction with Charlie Kirk. And I went over, and they were kind of like up in a booth, and I took a photo, and I always take like 5. I took one that day, and I'm like, yeah, it wasn't a great picture. And I'm like, oh man. But it was one of those things, we get done eating, Charlie Kirk pays for the bill. We're in the restaurant called the Ivy. There's always celebrities there. So my wife's like looking at everybody but me to see like what's going on around it. It's like comfort food. So my face is in my plate. And I'm like, hey, there's Charlie Kirk. And we get up to leave, and Charlie Kirk had paid the bill. So you talk about someone who's willing to have discourse. The guy never interrupted people. He was allowing conversation. I think that's what the world needs to move to. So I think we would honor Charlie and support the MAHA movement by continuing to share the truth, right? And to me, it's like there's a human side to this that people don't get on social media. It's at a distance. The guy was a gentle soul, 31 years old, you know what I mean? And I keep looking at the people that show up in our lives, and it's like, this isn't random. I heard it said that that was what a crazy coincidence. And one of the things I learned from Wayne Dyer, sitting in his living room having conversations with him, he said, if you break the word down coincidence, it's coincide. He said, there's no coincidences. All of this coincides with your intention and the path you're on. So notice the people that are showing up. And when we raised $500,000 at CalJam for Bobby Kennedy, we had people within the profession pissed off. I can't believe you gave the money away outside the profession. I go, he's doing this work. He's lost his father, his uncle. So to me, like, I won't be bashful about it. But if chiropractors want to do the MAHA movement instead of the MAHA movement, so be it. But get your patients involved. Understand this really is a shift in the culture of healthcare. And to give Charlie Kirk credit, his company was Turning Point. I'm hoping his death gives life to some of these turning point topics in healthcare, like the forbidden topic of vaccines. It needs to be talked about. All you got to do is look into the eyes of a mother who's had a vaccine damaged kids, and you know the truth. They know the truth, right?
I think it's a wonderful time to say to people, well, this is great because this is what we've been talking about in chiropractic all along.
All along.
You know, I mean, did you know that chiropractic was the only profession, the first profession in the world to have a lifestyle certification program?
And who did that, by the way?
Some dude named Chestnut, but
Right. So
but there was nothing else anywhere in healthcare
Right.
that did that. And chiropractors stepped up. They paid for it themselves. No one was paying for them. They traveled around to come to these seminars. But it's like, this is really, I think it's really important to let people know, oh yeah, we've been talking about this forever.
Yeah.
This is wonderful that people are starting to come around to this idea, because now people are starting to realize, you know, how right we've been all these years. It's so fantastic, because now we're getting more people coming into our offices all the time. You know what I mean? Say this to people. People are now starting to open up to this, and they're going to just reap the benefits of living a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, totally. And just to kind of put an exclamation point on both of your bodies of work, the lifestyle certification, can't recommend it enough. How many people in here have known Chestnut for years and done his certification? Would you raise your hand? Cool, right? So again, we've got some docs that have done this. Pharmaceutical companies didn't sponsor it. They paid out of pocket to be better
100%.
doctors. So I think everyone should look into that. To eat well, think well, move
We
well.
can do it online now because I'm not traveling, but
Which is cool, but I mean, that's available. And that's
it is available.
It's a shameless plug for you, because
thank you,
more docs need to know that.
Yeah.
Casey's a world-class chiropractor. He's got Ravi coming over with his family, going to host him in Arizona, another chiropractor in Sydney, made friends with a doc in Arizona. But you've got one of the biggest wellness practices, also inspired by a lot of what James teaches. 500-600 wellness visits a week, and people go, well, that's not even possible. Yeah, it is. The guy's doing it.
Good for
right?
you,
Like
man.
he's just absolutely crushing it, and yet he's got more to give other people. So I love putting the spotlight on other docs that are in this room. Or we could do this for another 4 hours. There's some amazing people in this profession, and for anybody listening, there's success all around you, right? Casey Johnson in Arizona is a guy that's doing it and sharing it and helping other people, and he's as humble as can be. But I'll tell you what, the MAHA movement, whatever you want to call it, the truth is people need our message now more than ever. And something you and I have said on this podcast for a year now is chiropractic's right again. Mm-hmm. And yet chiropractic's right again. So I'm at the point, even in the last 48 hours, a lot of emotions going through, just because I had an interaction with Charlie. I'm like, what a kind, gentle human being, and what a great, thing that it was just going to be a personal story, and now here it is a year later, and it's just like, all right, I want to honor the guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's some really beautiful people, and I'm not being quiet about that. Fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get louder. I'm going to start sharing more. I'm going to start putting the spotlight on you guys in the audience, because people need to know chiropractic's successful. They can send their kids to chiropractic school. They'll be successful. People in our communities need it. And as Del Bigtree will share in a couple months on this podcast, he's going to join us on the Chiro-Factor. People are running. They need a place to run to. And I want it to be the chiropractors. I want it to be your practices. So if it's okay with you, maybe we wrap it up on this one, because
Sure.
that to me was money. And having you here and just blowing the norm of 500-600 wellness visits in a week, people are like, how do you do that? Well, stay tuned. We'll do that on the next podcast.
And how fortunate for those patients.
That's just
Like,
it.
how fortunate for those patients.
Yeah, a duration practice where people don't have to come in because of symptoms. They're just living healthy, high vibrational. And then, as Eric Russell shared today, what's the subluxation? Somebody was unwell in his family. What should I have adjusted? And the answer from one of his mentors was, imagine if you weren't adjusting them all along. How much worse would this be? And for the chiropractors listening, that's a big aha. It's like, right, that's a true principled chiropractor. Not that I missed something. Imagine if they weren't getting adjusted all along. How much worse would these symptoms be? How much worse would this place be? And to me, that's where chiropractic comes down to, is like, it's a humanitarian effort. But it's way beyond just back pain at this point. Like, we have such an important role in the MAHA movement. So hopefully we answered your question.
I think we did.
Hey everybody, it's been an awesome live episode. We're here to Level Up event. James Chestnut is phenomenal. The information he shares, evidence of Casey Johnson, some of the other people we didn't get to some questions, my apologies. But the truth is we keep pushing this information out called the Chiro-Factor just because more people need to know what we do. And we know if you know it and you have confidence, confidence equals competence in the mind of the patient. We're just sharing some free information. And if you guys could help us out, we call this a freemium. Drop some comments on YouTube, share the podcast, be emphatic about this information, because our goal with this is just to boost up the confidence of chiropractors we couldn't travel to and get to, and yet I talked you into World Tour number 2. So we're going to be back in Sydney, Australia, December 5th and 6th. Any Aussies in here going? This is my favorite thing to do with Aussies. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! It's the best. So we'll be December 5th and 6th in Sydney, Australia. We're going to be November. We've got a guest speaker live at the event in Dallas with Del Bigtree. That's November 14th and 15th. Del's going to join us live on stage, and then Del's going to join us on this podcast. We'll do something very similar. We've just had a long first day of a Level Up seminar. These are some phenomenal docs. They've given us their time and attention for about 12 hours now.
Oh, yeah, they've done a
if you
good
guys
job.
wouldn't mind, put your hands together for yourselves one more time. Salute you. Yes. And I'll just end it with this. Look, there's many people that are doing great work in this profession, but James Chestnut doesn't promote himself enough. And the InnateChoice.com is where you can find the products, the services, the information, some of the stuff that we've talked about that's been inspiring for other chiropractors. I get thanked all the time for finding you. Like you were lost on a corner somewhere. But it's just younger docs. There's been a little gap, right, where you were locked in Canada and couldn't get out through the times, and all of a sudden we've got this younger generation. So I want to keep pushing out this content. We're going to be in Dallas in November. We'll be in Sydney in December. We'll be in the UK first weekend of February. And for everybody else listening, there's many factors in health, but we know the X factor oftentimes is the chiropractor. Thank you guys for joining us today. I totally appreciate it. Thank you. As always, we appreciate your time and attention and you listening to become a better doctor. Our website is levelupmentoring.rocks. I always say it's not a .com because it rocks. Levelupmentoring.rocks is where you can find information about the Best Practices Seminar in Dallas, November of 2025, Sydney, Australia, December of 2025, and then in the UK, February of 2026. Again, levelupmentoring.rocks is where you can find that. If you want to join me for the Level Up Academy online coaching and training that I run, then you would just message me at Dr. Glow DC off of Instagram. I'm also on Facebook at Brad Glowaki DC. But while you're there, don't forget to hit the like and notification button for both our YouTube channels, as well as follow me on Instagram. Again, Dr. Glow DC, because the DC stands for Doctor of Cause, not just Doctor of Chiropractic. And I'll tell you, if there's one person who's really given back to the profession as of late in a big, big way, it's been James Chestnut. So I appreciate the docs that came to the mic on this particular conversation. Special shout out to Casey Johnston, seeing 500 wellness visits a week. You heard that right. He has built a membership practice. He's collecting over $1 million on passive wellness care every year. He's got over 100K per month coming in on wellness care alone. So he doesn't even need to sign up somebody at a report of findings or sell a care plan. He's already profitable the first day of the month. If you want some of that in your life, reach out. Let me know how I can help. And as always, keep listening to this podcast because James and I put it together just to help out. And then last thing is, if you wouldn't mind, copy paste. Share this because there's chiropractors who have the silent dread. They're not going to put out their dirty laundry that they're not doing well. And this podcast might be the thing that becomes a lifeline for them. It's free, it's fast, it's easy. We try to do it in a fun way. We definitely bust the chops of the docs who come to the mic because they're fun-loving people. And we really appreciate your time and attention. If you would, share it, drop some love down below. And until next time, many factors in healthcare, but we know the X factor, it's the Chiro-Factor. Cheers, everyone.